So does this mean that M. Night Shyamalan is good again? No, not really. But he's slowly getting there. My name is Daidarius and welcome to the review of Glass. So Glass is the third installment in the Unbreakable trilogy. Yes, we have a trilogy. M. Night Shyamalan made a trilogy. How did that happen? So Glass takes place a few years after Split. So in case you didn't know, Split and Glass are connected to Unbreakable. So there's your twist. Anywho, the Horde, who's played by James McAvoy, is a man with some personal disorder. What is it called? Identity disorders. Something like that. He has split personality. He has 24 personalities hosting in this one body. And 4 of them are bent on changing the world and humankind for the better, because one of these 4 is the Beast, and the Beast is superhuman. You can't shoot it, it can climb up of walls, and it is pretty fucking strong. So they want to show the world that they are the uber-human, something like that. In the meanwhile, we have David, who is the man from Unbreakable, played by Bruce Willis. He's invulnerable, or we are led to believe so. He is extremely strong, he can't get sick, and when he touches people, if they have sinned in some way, he gets a vision of that sin. And he is tracking down the Horde because they are kidnapping and killing teenage girls. However, shit gets sideways and they're put into an institution where Mr. Glass, played by Samuel L. Jackson, also from the first movie, is resident. And now these 3 superhuman beings, or Glass isn't really superhuman, I mean his bones break very easily. However, he is extremely smart. They are now in the same facility and shit's gonna go down. So that is basically our movie. So what did I like about this movie? First of all, James McAvoy. Now, a lot of people in this movie, and I'm gonna get to that point later on, are not doing the best acting. However, James McAvoy is giving it his all. You don't see all of the personalities, but you do see most of the 24 personalities played by one man, and even in some scenes, he switches on the spot between these very distinctive personalities. Not only is it entertaining to watch, but it's also kind of disturbing, because you gotta realize that is a lot of personalities in one human being, and the original personality is hidden in there somewhere and can't get out. Props to him, because damn, that acting. I also like the premise of this movie, and it's not the setup, but it's the second act. I don't think this is gonna be a spoiler because it wasn't a trailer, and trust me, this is not some kind of twist. When they get into the institution, this psychiatrist tries to convince them that what they thought about themselves being superhuman is actually just lies that have been telling themselves. And the evidence, or just the theories he proposes, even makes you question, are they superhuman, or is it just something they wish they were? Then some convenient circumstance just made it seem like that they really were superhuman. I also kind of like the confrontation between David and the Beast, because they are quite equally matched. M. Night had taken these 2 superhuman strong beings and put them in a fight scene. There's realistic. They're not Superman strong, but they are stronger than our real world strongmen. So really get the feel of grit and realism in those scenes, and I like that. I also like the way that he shot the most scenes, because M. Night is infamous of shooting scenes in a very bizarre way. And unfortunately, there's no real meaning in the bizarre way, except that he just wants to experiment with how you can do things, but those experiments go wrong. What I mean about that is the meaning behind the way he shoots those scenes has no meaning or purpose for the scene. Whereas here he hits the nail on the head most of the times. I also give him props for there are a few twists in this movie, and most of those works because they're not mind-blowing twists. It's just something that if you paid attention for the clues, it wouldn't surprise you. However, it does bring the story forward in a meaningful way. And the last thing is, pacing for the most part is well done. There are some hiccups here and there, and especially towards the ending, but I'm gonna get to that later. But for the most part, this pacing is good, as it was in Split, and it was some points in Unbreakable. But Unbreakable is a very slow movie, and unfortunately Unbreakable, the slowness doesn't benefit it. But we're not here to review Unbreakable, we're here to review Glass. So those are basically the things I liked about this movie. So what didn't I like about this movie? Well, let's just get the pacing out of the way. The pacing is mostly solid for the first 2 acts. However, in the 3rd act, this movie gets busy. I mean, holy shit that it picks up the pace. And it picks up the pace in such a way that the rest of the movie feels rushed. It feels like there was too many ideas that M. Night want to put in this movie, but he ran out of screen time. So if he just had juggled some things around, then it would have worked better. But this movie is too rushy at the end. Then there's the fact that the acting is mediocre as best. I mean, besides, you know, James McAvoy. But everyone else is just giving some mediocre performance. And I do understand why, because M. Night has often shows that he doesn't have the ability to get the best out of his actors. He is not that kind of director. We have seen it in Signs. We have seen it in The Happening. We have seen it in The Last Airbender. We have seen it in After Earth. Wasn't what they were called. He is not good getting good performances out of his actors. And it shows here, especially when you're working with Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis. These are some senior guys. They've been in the business for a long time. If you don't show them the right amount of respect, good script, and direct them in a very respectful way, then they won't give a shit. And unfortunately here, it just really seems like they don't really give a shit. They're just there to finish a trilogy because, hey, money. I also don't like the dialogue because... Have you noticed whenever M. Night needs to write expositionally heavy dialogue, he just writes the most boring, clunky, unreal dialogue ever? Have you noticed that? So anytime that a person needs to get some exposition dumped onto them, then M. Night just gives up and just write exposition. For example, David and his son, who is the actor from Unbreakable, they communicate with each other over some radio or walkie-talkie earpiece that Bruce Willis' character David has whenever he's out catching bad guys. His son needed to know that David was put at a special place in this institution. So when these people catches David, they explicitly tell them that hurry to put him where he needs to go so no one else hears it, which is at this institution, on this road, in this city, in this wing. They don't specify the room, but holy shit is that bad exposition. And it happens a lot. Anytime that a person needs to know the whereabouts of another person, the exposition is just extremely bad, and it goes on throughout the movie. It's just horrendous, and it takes me out of the movie every time that I notice the bad dialogue. And the actors, they can't deliver it properly because it is just shit. You can't deliver that in a realistic and meaningful way. No. How did the actors react when they saw those lines? I mean, really? So you want me to say over the radio that it was a good idea that they went through the basement instead of the side wing because they are slower in the basement, there's more cameras in there, and that makes it a better chance for us to capture them. Is that normal? Listen, I looked over this exposition dump from many angles, and trust me, this is the most natural way you would say that to other people in the building who are also aware of where they are. Wouldn't I just say they're in the basement? Please send backup or something? What? No, that is for the audience. The audience need to know this. So you need to tell the audience that it was good for our point of view that they went down into the basement. So don't do the other thing. Even the bad skit you just saw, I can't make sense of it. I can't even make a proper skit for this. That is just how baffling it is to me that he presented the actors with this shithole of dialogue. Trust me, it is bad. And just a lot of times these characters makes some decision that just doesn't make sense. I mean, they put civilians in extreme harm and danger just because the plot needed them to be at that specific location or in that specific situation. Also, how characters just flip on the beliefs. Sometimes they will tell a character, no, you can't do X or Y. And then the next scene, they are letting that character doing the X and Y. None of these characters is consistent besides the 3 main characters. Jesus fuck. And then there's this thing. It is a spoiler, so I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but it is the second to last twist in the movie. Yeah, there's a lot of twists in this movie. If you don't pay attention, there's a lot of twists. But the real twist in this movie that no one saw coming, that one is just idiotic. It is stupid. It didn't need to be there, and it is presented far too late into the movie. Now, I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's just something that happens at the end of the 3rd act, at the final confrontation for these characters. Something happens. Something is exposed to you, and it expands this universe so much that you have nothing to do with it, and it just brings nothing to the table. It's just a twist for the sake of the twist, but it just makes the movie worse. And also just how it handles its main characters with no respect at the end. I just didn't like that because he could have got the same ending without this twist happening. And just all in all, M. Night just want to surprise us and intrigue us too much that he loses some of the main heart of the story. And he just so desperate wants to make everything ambiguous and interesting by not telling you anything and make characters have some weird dialogue so he thinks that they sound philosophical, but they don't, they just sound stupid. And it is these aspects that it really shines through that M. Night is not really that great of a director, unfortunately. He has had some mediocre movies and that is it. And I'm sorry to say, The Sixth Sense is not an amazing movie. It is an okay movie. It's a fine movie, but it's not a great movie. The only reason that people love The Sixth Sense is the twist, but the twist cannot make a whole movie. It just can't. But anyway, I'm not here to shit on The Sixth Sense. I still like The Sixth Sense. What you get from this movie is you get some great aspects because that is what M. Night is good at. He's good at creating potential. He's good at creating some interesting ideas. However, acting on these ideas and just put them into the world is not his strongest suit, and it is in these situations that he needs someone else to take on the helm. He just needs to bring the ideas and then let some other people finish them, some who is more competent than he is. And the ending in of itself is just sad funny. I mean, it is funny, but it's not supposed to be. It's Jesus Christ. So, here's what I'm gonna say. Glass is an entertaining, fun movie who has a lot of downsides. So, I would say that Glass, you should catch it on Netflix. My experience. However, I do think that Glass and Split are on par of movie quality goes. There's just more acting wise and story wise going on for Split than it is for Glass. And Unbreakable it's a movie I need to watch again because I'm pretty sure I have too much nostalgia goggles on for that movie. So I need to watch it again with a clear mind because as far as I remember, the pacing is not that good. It's okay for a movie to take its time, but there needs to be a point for it to take its time and it doesn't need to overstay its welcome. And as far as I remember, the dialogue in Unbreakable was unnecessarily slow. And too many of the characters had long breaks between the lines and it just made the flow of the dialogue weird. I don't know. Maybe I will review Split and Unbreakable later on this channel. I don't know. However, Glass, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And how do you think it ranks amongst all of M. Night's movies? I mean, we need to consider the great ones. So that is what Unbreakable, Sixth Sense, Split, this, and then he made that horror movie for a few years back. So, I don't know. Whatever you think, comment below and leave your thoughts. And as always, until I see you in the next video, remember to stay awesome. Bye! Could he make a fourth one? Should it be some other single word? Like cotton candy?